This is the Redkey MGC500 robot lawnmower, and right off the bat, the thing looks super modern and compact. It sits in this sort of ash-gray shell that feels sturdy but not super heavy to lift and move around. You're actually looking at something about the size of an average carry-on suitcase, and it weighs roughly 42 pounds, which is manageable for most people. One thing I noticed immediately is how the design just feels practical. If you're someone who likes clean lines and gear that fits into your yard without sticking out like a sore thumb, this is right up your alley. Basically, you get that feeling that it's a serious piece of equipment, but not something that's intimidating to operate. From my experience unboxing it, you get the main mower unit, the docking station, boundaries wire, some long screws, pegs to keep the wire in place, low voltage cable, and even a simple cardboard ruler for measuring out your boundary lines. I remember my first thought was, all right, is this going to be a nightmare to set up? I've tried other robot mowers before, and the wire setup part can sometimes be a hassle. With the Redkey, it wasn't as bad as I expected. The instruction manual is clear enough for someone who's never set up a robotic lawnmower before, and you even get error codes if something goes wrong, which is a plus if you're new to this tech. So the look and feel, it's both practical and a bit sleek. The Redkey MGC500 is clearly built from sturdy plastic, but not the flimsy kind. The controls are all tucked away, which helps keep it safe from the weather, and overall it gives you confidence this thing will handle garden life, pets, and kids pretty well. I like that it's waterproof to an IPX6 rating, so I didn't need to panic when it started sprinkling during my first run. If you're the kind of person who wants something durable and easy to hose down after a mow, this is a pretty safe bet. Let me talk a little about my actual experience using it. Getting everything set up took me a couple hours. That's pretty standard for robotic mowers because of the boundary wire. That's simply a thin wire you lay down around the part of your lawn the mower should cover, kind of like giving it invisible fences, so it knows where to stop. I will admit, as someone who's not always patient with these kinds of home projects, I wanted to skip ahead. But honestly, it's worth doing right the first time because once the wire is down, you rarely have to think about it again. I used the app Redkey provides, which made it a lot easier. The app connects right to the mower and lets you check on its progress, set mowing times, and tweak the mowing height, which you can do from your phone without bending down and fiddling with knobs. What's cool is you have complete control without being stuck outside watching it. The mower goes back to its charging dock automatically when it needs juice. Battery runs for about 70 minutes, which was enough for my smaller front yard. As soon as it drops below 15% battery, it'll head back to the dock and recharge, and then get back to work once charged up to about 90%. That made it super hands-off compared to traditional mowers. The two-wheel drive and grippy wheels handled my lawn slopes really well. I've got a couple of hilly spots that would make normal mowers slip or stall. The Redkey didn't have a problem actually. It can tackle inclines up to about 45%, which covers most residential yards, unless you live on the side of a mountain. The C-TOF positioning sounds fancy, but all it means is you get less patchy grass and fewer missed spots. The path it cuts is systematic. It goes row by row, and you can switch it between parallel and perpendicular patterns, so you don't get those weird strips or weirdly missed edges that make your yard look half done. Another thing I really value is the safety features built in. I've got kids running around and a dog that likes to think he owns the backyard. The Redkey has collision sensors to stop and reverse if it bumps into anything, including people or pets. I even deliberately stepped into its way to check, and it backed up without ever making me worry, so that's a plus. There's also a pin lock if you want to keep it from being messed with, GPS tracking in case it goes missing, and an alarm just in case someone tries to walk off with it. What I really like and think stands out most is how much less work I have to do each week. Mowing the grass is honestly one of my least favorite chores. With this mower, once the boundary wire was set, it's almost totally hands-off. The app lets me schedule when I want the yard done, and I get alerts when it's finished or if something goes wrong, like if the wire is broken by a pet or a stray garden tool. For me, that peace of mind and just not needing to sweat and push a mower in 80-degree heat is a win. Also, the noise level is noticeably quieter than a gas mower. It hums softly, so I never feel like I'm bothering my neighbors, even if I let it run early in the morning. From my experience, another key feature worth mentioning is the way the system handles unexpected problems. If the boundary wire is ever damaged, the Redkey can actually detect where the break happened and help you repair it right from the app. That's less time crawling around trying to find a tiny break under bushes or along the fence. But, as with any tech, there are a few things I think could be better. The biggest thing for me was the initial setup. It takes some patience. Laying the wire around garden beds and tricky corners is time-consuming, and if you have a bunch of flower beds or odd-shaped yard edges, you'll spend a bit longer. Once it's down, you don't need to mess with it unless you plan to re-landscape, but that first day is a project. The wire pegs do their job, but can be a little flimsy if your ground is really hard or rocky. And while the mower itself is relatively quiet, it's not totally silent, so if you're super sensitive to noise, keep that in mind for those early morning runs. Another thing I noticed is that the app, while generally intuitive, can sometimes lag when updating the live progress, especially if your Wi-Fi is spotty in your backyard. There were a few times I had to manually check if the mower was done because the notification didn't pop up right away. It's not a deal breaker, but worth mentioning. In conclusion, I'd recommend this for anyone who's tired of pushing a mower every weekend or just wants more time back. It's perfect for medium-sized lawns up to about 1/8 of an acre, and especially useful if you have kids or pets running around. The Redkey MGC500 takes a little time to get going, but once it's up and running, it's easy to forget you even own a lawnmower. The key features: automatic charging, reliable path planning, robust safety systems, and simple app control make this a smart buy if you want to automate yard work, but don't want a huge learning curve or a robot that gets stuck all the time. From my experience, the build quality is solid, mowing accuracy is impressive, and the routine maintenance is as easy as rinsing it down every now and then. Check the comments of this video for a link to see the current pricing of the Redkey MGC500 robot lawnmower. Thank you for watching.